One thing I always find that you articulate well is a theology of giving. Could you share a little bit about that? What is a theology of giving and why is it important?
I consider giving a spiritual discipline. I think it's a very spiritual activity. When in your heart you determine to share what you have for the betterment of your church, your region, your denomination in the world. You always make a sacrifice when you share because you have what you need and then you share from that. In our denomination, we have a couple of channels. The predominant one is United Missions. That money that we give is then distributed to different channels of mission through the denomination. International ministries, national ministries, regional ministries. 65% of what churches give for United Missions come back to the region. We're not sending money to some people we don't know to pay for overhead, to pay for administrative costs in the East Coast, but we are really sustaining ministry locally in our region. Ministry that supports churches that are in bad financial situations, ministries that support programs of renewal, programs of blessing to the local church. The whole ministry of the region that includes conflict mediation, includes envisioning for the future, includes all these things that people like you do in our midst, are supported in part by this United Mission. This is a huge part of our budget as a region. The money that comes, the income that we receive from the United Mission giving.
And then what does that other 35% go to?
It goes to the denomination in different places. It supports some of the ministries of international ministries, the work with missionaries that we love so much. It supports the work with Native Americans across the country. It supports institutions like seminaries and the Green Lake Conference Center. So a lot of the work that is done that we cannot do by ourselves, but is done together, is supported by this 35% of what we give. Churches can give, as I mentioned in the beginning, a regional offering to the region, to Evergreen, but we don't have a requirement amount. We are Baptists, and as Baptists, we are people of freedom. Right. We have the freedom to give, and we have the freedom to give whatever we can or want to give. No requirements are here. Funny that nowadays most people give online, and it sounds strange that sitting in front of your computer and punching the keyboard is a spiritual activity.
One of the things that's true is that, you mentioned that Evergreen started with around 30 churches. We're now over 60. We've more than doubled in size. With this transparent budget, the challenge that we offered at our annual meeting was for us to rise to that challenge. And we are rising to that challenge. We've seen an increase in giving, and we want to encourage our churches to continue that trend. And those individuals who give to us so faithfully, we're so grateful, and we want to encourage you as well. And those of you who maybe aren't giving, but could, we want to encourage that. We are so grateful for everyone who gives. What would you say for a church that isn't giving to United Mission now or to Evergreen? What would you say that they could do or think about as they begin the process of looking at their budget, particularly for next year, toward giving?
For some churches, this seems an insurmountable amount of money and impossible. So my recommendation for those churches is to start with what they can afford now. I'm reminded of the parable of the 10 lepers, not from the point of view of the giving thanks, but from this point of view. When they were full of leprosy, Jesus said, "Go and show yourselves to the priest." They could have said, "Jesus, the priest is going to throw us away because we're still full of leprosy. Heal us first." And the scripture says, as they went, they were healed. So I would say to you, if your church has a deficit, if you don't see how you can give more, set a goal. Say, for example, next year we're going to give $50 a month to United Missions. Well, it's a drop in the bucket for the denomination, but for you, it's a step of faith. And as you go, your finances will be healed. Because when we give with grace, the grace of God superabounds.